Good evening, Avatuta Babadanji.
Good evening.
What's you going to talk about today?
Today I'm going to talk about consciousness, divine consciousness. Now, being in the unique position of being Atman realised, I know what consciousness is. People talk about consciousness, but they're talking about the mind. Now, what has happened is, the eternal Atmanic spirit, which is within everybody as perfection, bliss, it's self-reflective, self-aware being, eternal being. The mind has become confused with seeing external objects being brought up as child, adult, and allowing itself to get whipped up into a state of thoughts. Mind is just a collection of thoughts. Now, when the mind slows down, what happens is it begins to experience energy in meditation and then true consciousness. Now, the merging in consciousness, the person merges into that true consciousness of perfect being. That's the beginner's stage. As a person becomes one with the consciousness, they realise they were never separate from that consciousness. Perfect, eternal, blissful, self-reflective awareness of perfection. They experience it all the time. They understand that it was never separate from the mind, that it was always there, dispersed in the mind. That's what's called, in India, witness consciousness, or Atmanic consciousness, or natural samadhi, bliss, that comes from, all the time, experiencing the unity. The example given is of a mirror. A person stands and looks in front of a mirror. They see a reflection of themselves. But in reality, in this conversation of consciousness, there is no reflection. You don't have a reflection. The mirror is the consciousness, the true consciousness, the original consciousness. That's what you're learning to do in spiritual practice. You're learning, slowly, slowly, the mind becomes more peaceful, becomes less disturbed, goes deeper and deeper within, and becomes one with the consciousness beyond energy to its pure, essential, eternal awareness, spirit state. And within that perfection, there's never any suffering. Buddhists call it nirvana. It's the end of all suffering forever. Once a person has merged in that consciousness, they are eternally aware of that consciousness and eternally aware of that experience of bliss, eternal being, and the end of all suffering.